We are recording. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Darkness. No parents. Super rich. Kinda makes it better. That was the Batman song for Jan. So welcome to another episode of Torn Book Club. I am your host, Josh, and I am wearing my Yoda shirt in celebration of Star Wars Day. Today is May the 4th, so May the 4th be with you. Which really just sounds like you're speaking with a lisp, but so be it. As you can see, sorry, over there, figure this out, we have a little chat window going on the screen. And the reason I'm doing that is so that in the archives people can see the chat happening as the show is progressing, as opposed to me just speaking into a vacuum. Now they can see everybody talking on the screen. And for those of you typing at home live, it will probably look very delayed to you, and so that's that. So the bottom window is the Ustream. This one here is the Ustream channel. The one up here is the Justin TV channel, and as you can see, nobody is in there yet, and probably won't be, but it's still up just in case. And so just a quick hello to everybody who's in the chat right now. I see Rovandir and Jan and Temple, and Eva is with us too. That's who I've seen so far. And Jan is forever alone in the Justin TV chat. But he's in both, so it doesn't matter. And he's in both places because he's Batman. So let's begin today. I'm sorry for the lateness this time around. I was having some technical difficulties putting this chat window up together, and also I have created a new Skype account specifically for this show so that you can Skype in if you wish. Hopefully. This is a grand experiment, and I haven't tried it live yet, so we'll see how it goes. But if you wish to Skype in, you can open up Skype and look for Torn Book Club. That is a Skype username that I created specifically for the show, and it is up and live now. So if you feel so inclined, feel free to Skype in. And let me just move this guy. You get to see me tweaking stuff live. Haha, how about that? There you go. So we'll just press along. Today we're going to be talking primarily about our book of the month for April, which was The Strain by Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan. So I don't know how many of you read it, but I did. Temple is saying I won't Skype today. I have really bad allergies, but maybe next week. Next week we will not be here. Next week I have family in town, so I won't be able to do the show, so we're going to have to skip next week. So our next show will be, do the math here, for the 18th. Yes? Yes. And so there you go. Maybe next week or the week after that, yes. So The Strain. Let's talk about that one a little bit. I really liked this book. I don't know how many of you read it. I think Eva has read it. And there are two more in the series. This is a trilogy altogether, but I have deliberately kept away from reading the other two books so that I don't accidentally confuse them and inadvertently reveal spoilers while discussing the first book, because that can happen sometimes. So Eva is halfway through the second book, and so don't spoil anything. So Temple is saying that she liked the scientific cross with the mystical in this book, and I did too. What I liked about this was that it was, first of all, it was a vampire movie that wasn't a cheesy or a vampire story that wasn't a cheesy romance, which I personally am very pleased with. I'm kind of sick of the romantic vampire stories, and I was glad to read something that was really just straight up horror. And it was good horror too. I mean, these vampires, they were not pretty. Like, the way he described them was they have these giant tentacles that come out of their mouths, and they jam themselves into your throat. So it's not the fang thing, and they're pretty much like zombies, which I thought was cool. And I liked the whole conspiracy with the I stole the One Ring is here, hi. We are discussing The Strain. What was I talking about? I like that this whole vampire outbreak that happens is actually kind of planned and has been like a long time coming. And one of the things that I find interesting is like there are some parallels to Dracula a little bit, with all of it beginning with one particular vampire traveling to America, or in the case of Dracula, traveling to England, in a coffin, and then just wreaking holy havoc. And Eva is saying, I'm so glad the book will be a TV series. I am too. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how they handle this as a TV series. It's going to be on FX, which means it's probably not going to be quite as gory as the book is. But I think I'm okay with that. Rovandir is saying, I'm currently reading way too many books, especially after my visit at a secondhand store. Yeah, those are pretty deadly. I try not to go in there because I then blow my meager savings. So I totally understand. So yeah, I am looking forward to the Strain series. I've looked at the cast on IMDb, and really the only actor who I recognized right away was David Bradley, who is playing the character of Abraham Satrakian, who in this book is sort of the equivalent of Abraham Van Helsing. He's an old Romanian man who's been tracking the main vampire for pretty much his entire life, ever since he encountered him while in an internment camp in World War II. So that's quite a long time, and sort of has dedicated his life to finding and killing this vampire. And now the vampire is here in America and is spreading vampirism like a plague through New York City. And it's all told primarily from the perspective of a CDC doctor named Ephraim. And he's got his story. He's got his ex-wife and his kid and his partner, so to speak, who is also a part-time lover. Eva says, I felt like I was reading a script for a classic action movie in the beginning of the book. I did too, actually, yeah, because they did they did an interesting thing in the beginning where it's pretty much describing the main incident that sets this all off, which is a plane mysteriously arrives at LaGuardia, or was it JFK? I think it was JFK, and sort of that's kind of ground zero for the viral outbreak, and the beginning part of it is told from the perspective of air traffic control, and it's actually quite intense. Like, I really like that. And so yeah, I liked I like where this is going. It had sort of a Lovecraftian kind of feel to it, with like this dark mystery that is slowly over time revealing itself. And you have the main character, Ephraim, who is a skeptic. He's a science man, and he doesn't believe in all the vampire stuff. And then as he starts encountering all of it, then he begins to see that basically everything he knows is wrong, and now he needs to become a vampire hunter. and he also is trying to get his family out of New York before they become vampires. And then you have this whole other story of this old billionaire whose name his name is Eldritch, which is another Lovecraftian term, who is basically the man who orchestrated this vampire coming to America and wreaking havoc. And clearly this is for him to gain the gift of immortality from the vampire. And also there is this interesting story, this interesting subplot about how vampires work, which is they're basically like zombies, but they're all controlled by one master vampire. And there are 7 ancient master vampires who all have this very strict treaty of, these are our territories, this is what we do, and we stick to that. And they have, like, basically they stick to the shadows, they don't reveal themselves. But then the vampire who has come to America, he's the rogue. And we have the final scene at the end where the other ancient vampires get together and sort of have a powwow about this and say, pardon me, they say it's time to bring this guy down. So I'm definitely curious in the second and third books to see where this goes. Like, if we're going to have a vampire war, if the outbreak is going to spread beyond New York. So I will definitely be curious to see where that all goes. So what did you all think of the strain, now that I've rambled on about it? Eva seemed to like it. She must have liked it. You're now into the second book, which I definitely want to check out. I liked Del Toro's storytelling style. It's very old school horror, which you don't see a lot of these days. And you can tell that Del Toro like really has a passion for this sort of thing. And you can tell it even just from his movies, from Hellboy, or from Devil's Backbone, or Pan's Labyrinth. All are fantastic movies. He has this wonderfully fantastic imagination. And Eva's saying, yes, I can recommend picking up the next book also. Good. I plan to. And Temple is agreeing that it feels script-like. It does. It does feel very much like a screenplay. Like, it was very easy for me to visualize everything as I was going through the book. they don't spend a whole lot of time in the various characters' heads or giving their backstories, but it gives you enough that everything feels very fleshed out. So it was a tight story, I thought. Like it kept a good pace. It ramped up the action. It ramped up the intensity. It was pretty darn spooky in places. There's a lot of scenes with people being attacked in the dark, and there's like it's a really cool depiction of that actually is kind of makes your skin crawl. Eva says, I liked the characters, and I liked how they described the vampires in detail, how they changed from humans to vampires. That was really cool, like, how it really was like a virus that goes into your system and literally rewrites your DNA to the point where it changes your entire physiology. So certain organs transform. You're able to unhinge your jaw, and you get this huge tentacle that comes out of your mouth, and yeah, and also you go bald. The way it sort of felt to me was kind of a mix between the vampires that we saw in the most recent I Am Legend movie and the vampires that Del Toro created in Blade 2. And yeah, so and Jan is saying, I don't think I've ever really read a serious book about vampires. They're few and far between, Jan. I will admit that. That's why this one felt so refreshing, because it really was a story that was a horror story about vampires. Most vampire stories, pretty much ever since Anne Rice started it, have been very very dark romance. And you know, it was cool for a while to like sort of see things from a vampire's perspective, but it's been so done at this point that having it go back to just being a horror story and the vampires just being monsters was quite refreshing for me. I don't know about the rest of you, but that was one thing I truly enjoyed about this, was having them be rather... Temple is saying I would say Bram Stoker Dracula was rather romantic. The movie versions of Dracula I felt were very romantic, particularly the Francis Ford Coppola one. But the book itself, I felt, really did try to focus on the occult side and the horror side. You didn't really... In the book, Dracula wasn't so much a character as he was a presence. Like, he would just sort of show up, do his thing, and then disappear. And it was mostly about the different characters trying to unravel the mystery of him. And I think Van Helsing in the book doesn't show up until about halfway through, and then starts saying, what you've been dealing with is a vampire. And that's kind of the same case here with the Strain, with Abraham Satrakian. But he shows up in the very beginning, but he kind of sticks to himself for a long time, and then about halfway through, he finally meets up with Ephraim, and explains to him what exactly is going on. Temple is saying, but it was the changing point between vampires being full monsters versus vampires being human-like creatures that walk among us, and that's true. There are many scenes in Dracula the book where Jonathan Harker sees Dracula out on the street and starts freaking out because he knows he knows who he is and what he is, because he had just gotten back from England after having been a prisoner in Dracula's castle for months. And then he sees him on the streets of London, and so yeah, there is that element of Dracula as a vampire walking among us, and in this you don't see that too much, because once you change into a vampire in the strain, you don't look human anymore. Like there were a couple scenes where like you could see people who had become vampires walking around on the street, but they didn't seem like some dapper gentleman or like a normal person like us. They seemed like crazy homeless people until they actually like unleashed their vampire tentacle from their mouths and started jamming it into your throat. Then you realize, oh wait, you're something else entirely, and now I'm dead. So I like that, but I do feel that in Dracula, even though there was that certain element of him hiding in plain sight, you never felt any real sympathy for him. Like he was the villain from start to finish. And I mean that has definitely changed, especially in the latest Coppola movie, where you have the love story. You have him basically trying to find his long dead wife and thinking that he's found her in Mina. And you do sort of have like sympathy for him as a character, but I never felt that reading the book. I just enjoyed him as like kind of the villain. And so Eva says she hasn't read Dracula yet. I would recommend reading Dracula overall, if for nothing else, just the historical aspect of it. What it is it's not like it's not a prose narrative or a straight up narrative. What it is it's a collection of journal entries, newspaper articles, and all this, telling the narrative of the story of Jonathan Harker getting captured by Dracula, his escape, and then returning to London, and then Dracula coming to London, and everybody trying to unravel the mystery of who he is and what he is, and then ultimately putting an end to him. So it's an interesting read. So I would recommend that, and I'd recommend The Strain. I definitely want to read the next two in the series for sure. So I think that's about all I have to say about The Strain. I would definitely give this one a thumbs up. Truly enjoyed it. Definitely want to read the rest of it. The other two in the series, I should say. I'm looking forward to the series, which I believe starts later this month. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's starting either later this month or next month. And Eva is saying, I just visited the IMDb page and they've updated the picture. There's now an eye with the white worms coming out. Ooh, cool. Oh, that was another thing that I thought was really interesting in this, was how Jan says, if you don't have time to read the sequels, just make them the book of the month, then you will have to. That's true, but I don't want to focus solely on this series. I like to vary it up a little bit. The one thing that I really liked, and I mean this is definitely like a change from the typical vampire lore that we're used to, but I mean this is already so different. The way the vampire virus spreads is not just through the vampire biting you. if you kill a vampire, there are still these parasitic worms that live within the dead body that can come out and pretty much and still infect you even after the vampire is dead, which I thought was a really cool twist, and it makes them like even more dangerous, and it's pretty gruesome. And so Jan is saying it's a pretty disgusting picture. Well, now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to look it up. Pardon me while I do this. Oh, yep, I see it. Oh boy. Oh yeah. That is definitely the vampire worms. That's that one's pretty freaky. I'm not gonna lie. That is a pretty freaky picture. Temple says the parasite aspect of the story gives it a feel of science fiction rather than solely horror. Yeah, and like I keep coming back to how it feels Lovecraftian, and that's a big part of the Lovecraft style of storytelling, is making it feel sort of sciencey or science fictiony, but still having this strange mystical aspect to it, and this strong mystery to it, and basically sort of combining that into this this concept that basically makes people crazy. Like most of the characters in Lovecraft stories tend to go crazy at some point. Rovandir is saying, what freaks me out is animals under the skin. Yeah, that is pretty freaky. Jan is asking, are there any good books out there about giant spiders? I don't know about books. There are definitely a few movies. Eight-Legged Freaks is a really good one. Because that one is also just a very tongue-in-cheek, cheesy horror movie. I think there was another movie that came out earlier this year. I think it's just called Big Damn Spider. Yeah. But I don't know anything about any books about giant spiders. I might have to look that up. That might be something fun for October, for Halloween. Get something really scary and creepy. I'm a big horror fan, so this was a fun read for me, and definitely looking forward to reading the rest. And I know that I will. I've got a few credits on Audible still, and I've got those to read, and also the next Dresden Files book, which comes out later this month. I don't know if any of you read the Dresden Files books, but it's one of my favorite series, and I've been looking forward to the next one for quite a while, since the last one, which came out a year and a half ago, I think, something like that. But that's a great series, and I highly recommend picking that up. Temple is saying, thinking about it, it's surprising that I haven't seen Stephen King do anything with spiders yet. Haven't read it, but I haven't read everything of his, though. Actually, It has a giant spider in it. But it's kind of a disappointing story in that, or a disappointing reveal. Basically, in the story, there is this small New England town. I know, huge stretch there. That's been terrorized for centuries by this weird otherworldly presence that steals children, and it's this small group of kids who band together and try to hunt down the creature that's doing this. And then eventually they all grow up and then come back to town and basically to finally put an end to it, and then they reveal at the end that this creature that's been sending up all these illusions that's scaring children and then kidnapping them is actually a giant spider. So yes, there is that. There is the giant spider in it. But that's the only one that I can think of off of the top of my head. So, and Stephen King has done vampires before. Salem's Lot is another good one. That's actually a good. Jan was talking about books, or I think it was Jan was asking about vampire books that are straight horror. Salem's Lot is another good one. And that was made into a TV miniseries back in the 70s, I think. Temple is saying, I'm looking at the IMDb site and I'm recognizing a lot of people. The guy playing Eve was in the American House of Cards. That's where I know him from. Thank you. I recognized the picture of him, but I couldn't remember where. But now, yes, House of Cards. That's where I know him from. The book series that I was talking about is called earlier. I think you're referring to the Dresden Files. And Jan is saying, I haven't seen House of Cards yet. It's a really good series, and you're right. Yes, the guy who plays Eve in The Strain is the guy who plays. He played what was he? He was running for governor of Pennsylvania in season 1 of House of Cards. I think that's who that was. Earlier I was talking about the Dresden Files, which is one of my favorite series. Eva was asking about that. And it's an urban fantasy series about a wizard who works as a private detective in Chicago. Yes, Temple says he's the one who had issues with addiction. Okay, that's the one. That is the guy. Yeah, that's where I know him from. So just like quickly describing the Dresden Files for you, it centers around a wizard named Harry Dresden, who works as a private detective in Chicago, working primarily with the Chicago Police Department as a consultant on the cases that can't be solved. And of course, there are mystical aspects to it, and it does a great job of incorporating all these different fantasy elements into it. There are vampires, there are werewolves, there are fairies, there's ghouls, demons, like just about everything you can think of makes an appearance in this series, and they have wonderful twists on what is commonly assumed about them, like the different vampire courts. There are the different types of werewolves. There's the summer fae and the winter fae, and how they have to stay in balance, otherwise the world will be destroyed. And there's this whole underworld in Chicago that he's a part of. It's an incredibly rich series. It's incredibly well written, great characters. Harry is probably one of the most abused main characters I've ever read in a book. We're now, I think, 13 books into the series, and he has never gotten out of a single one of those books without some sort of serious injury, or worse, which I won't go into because it's spoilers. Temple says when characters get injuries, they stay injured. There's a lot of consistency with details like that. That's very true. And also, when a character dies, they stay dead. Temple is saying Natalie Brown in The Strain was on the American Being Human, and I did notice that Sean Astin was listed there, but I didn't see as who, so I didn't want to mention him. But let me look here. I know that Sean Astin is in there somewhere, but I think he's just playing like a small character or something like that. But the big one that I like is David Bradley as Abraham Satrakian. That's a great casting choice. He's the guy who played what is his name? Walder Frey in Game of Thrones, and Filch in the Harry Potter movies. So I know like Sean Astin is like on this list somewhere. Okay, so Sean Astin is playing Jim Kent, not a major character, but important. Okay. That's good to know. And I don't really know Natalie Brown because I never watched The American Being Human, or I didn't watch much of it, so that name will probably not mean much to me. But and I actually like saw David Bradley cast as Satrakian before I started reading the book, and so of course as soon as I was reading the book I was seeing David Bradley as a Satrakian, and it works perfectly, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him in that role. So Sean Astin plays Jim Kent in one episode. So yeah. So there's another connection to Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or what have you. With Del Toro. So yeah. Really liked The Strain. Definitely looking forward to the series. I think I would also recommend if you haven't read it, I would recommend reading the Dresden Files. That's a fantastic series, and maybe I'll make the first book a book of the month at some point to get you all into it. I do have some books of the month already planned ahead, so Temple is saying, I'm sure it will take time before that cast list is sorted out. IMDb often has casting mistakes before films and shows come out. This is true. Like, and who knows? Maybe Jim Kent will come back and we'll see more Sean Astin instead of just one episode. Speaking of book of the month, I should let you know what the book of the month for May is now that we're 4 days into it. So here it is. It's one that I like, and it's one that we've talked about before. Some of you may have read it already. If not, now's your chance. This is a recent book that I really enjoyed. It's apropos of nothing. I just like it, and I think you will too. And that is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I really like this book, and I'd be curious to hear what a lot of you think of it when you read it. The author's name is Ransom Riggs. You can get a Kindle version. It's available on Kindle. It's available on Audible. But if you can find a print version and you're willing to pay for it, you're willing to spend the money for a print version, that is the ideal version, because what's so cool about this book is that it centers around all these old weird pictures from like the 1940s. And so those pictures are in the book, and they might be in the Kindle version. I haven't checked. They're of course obviously not in the Audible version, though I do think you can download them. But these pictures sort of help to inform the story, and they are like very weird and in some cases like rather unsettling photographs, but they're really cool. And this was it was an interesting book that I found highly intriguing. It didn't. I sort of felt like the ending was a little predictable, but that's not really. It didn't take away from it. I didn't feel that it detracted from the story. I thought the story was very cool. This is a young adult book, so it's a fairly easy read. It's a really cool concept. I don't want to say too much about it, lest I spoil. But it seems like a lot of people are saying they've been wanting to read this one. Well, now you have an excuse. Now you have the month of May to read it. So, again, it is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. And a sequel to it came out earlier this year called Hollow City, which I haven't read. I do want to check that one out, although I might give this first one another reread before I go into the sequel. Who knows? I'll probably give it a reread just so that I can refresh myself for the discussion at the end of the month. Yeah. You will notice there is no Rewrite Tolkien this month. And that is because I just haven't heard anything from anybody about it. A lot of us are very busy right now. Many of the other people who organize Rewrite Tolkien and do the judging for it are very busy with work right now, and of course I'm very busy with work too. It's very difficult for me to stop everything I'm doing and do this show every week, but I'm still pushing forward. So yeah, that's so as far as I can tell, there is no new Rewrite Tolkien. There is no Rewrite Tolkien in this month. Maybe there will be again. I think another thing is that we sort of drain the well as far as themes go. Like, there are certain themes that we do want to do, but they are specific to certain times of year. So in this time of year, where there isn't like a special event or a holiday or that going on, it's kind of hard to come up with a theme or a concept or a writer for us to use for it. But we'll do it again. It might be a little bit more it might be more sporadic. So what I am gonna try doing once I have more time is Johan is saying, if you're really busy, just take a week off. I'm sure we can discuss Batman in the chat for 2 hours or something else less awesome. Yes, you can discuss Batman anytime you want. And one of the things that I do want to try doing, one of them is once I have more time, I want to do a Nostalgia Critic style review of The Dark Knight Rises just for you, Jan. But another thing that I want to try doing is, since I have really good audio equipment here, I want to try doing really nicely done audio narrated versions of the past winners of Rewrite Tolkien, as opposed to just me reading them live with all the ums and buts and coughs and stumbling over myself. Like do a nicely produced like audio version that I would then put up on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. I don't know when that's going to happen. I hope that that will happen. Jan is saying, I have a screenshot of you promising me a review. I will keep that forever. Nice. It will happen, and I know that I owe you all a Disneyland video at some point. And all of that is coming. I just need to get through some major projects at work that right now I am not allowed to discuss openly. I can say, however, I did just finish season 6 of Star Trek TNG, the Blu-rays for that. So that's done, and that will be on shelves in June. So there's one more season of that to go, and that's gonna be finished up later this year. Then there is this other project that I'm not allowed to talk about yet that is taking up all of my time. Once that's done, then maybe I'll have some more time to actually do these other things for the show that I want to do that aren't just me talking into the camera once a week. I also want to try to get more guests on. Of course, now we're losing a little bit of screen space here with me putting the chat windows up, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, I was talking about how this month is going to be Get to Know You month. Rovandir is saying, what I remember about my time in Disneyland in Paris is lots of crepes, getting stuck in the Pirates of the Caribbean and not being able to take the haunted house seriously, and all the music. Yes. Jan is asking, how often does it happen that a flawed DVD is released anyway? Menu error or something. Not often, and it's because people like me work our tails off to keep that from happening. So, you're welcome. These are very complicated projects. Even the simplest DVDs and Blu-rays are very difficult to create. Like, there's a lot of inner workings happening that you're not even aware of. Does Disneyland Paris have Pirates of the Caribbean stuff? I would imagine it does. I know that they have a different version of the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland Paris that is apparently much darker. But yeah, I would assume that they do have them. What is this? Jan is saying, what about Easter eggs? My Pirates DVDs have some Easter eggs, and you have to press random buttons and stuff to watch bonus clips. Yeah, Easter eggs are an interesting thing. When DVD first started, Easter eggs were just little things that the authors, people like myself, would just throw in there without telling anybody, and they'd be like fun little scavenger hunts. But then once people started talking about them on the internet, and like, you do this and you find this picture and you press this button and you get this, then studios started putting in more control over the Easter eggs. So now most Easter eggs are in there as are there because the studio wanted it, and they're sometimes more easily accessible, and sometimes they are ridiculously difficult to get to. I have put an Easter egg on this the Top Secret project, but it's an easy one to find. There's actually quite a few of them. But usually, Easter eggs are usually something that is planned ahead by the studios and the producers at this point, and it's not just a fun little thing that the author just throws in just for kicks. you can get in a lot of trouble for that now, unfortunately. But I didn't want to talk too much about DVD. But you know what? This is a get to know you month, so we can get to know me, and I can get to know you. And so yeah, ask me questions, and I can ask you questions. That's why I set up the Skype, so we can actually have like a person to person talk, and not me talking to the chat or the chat talking to me. He was saying, I love the Haunted Mansion, but they speak French in Disneyland Paris, so it spoils some of the fun. My French is a bit rusty. Yeah. Yeah, the Haunted Mansion in Paris, I know that when they opened it, initially the narration in it was actually done by Vincent Price, of all people, and was really creepy and really cool, and then a few years later they switched it over to French and got rid of the Vincent Price narration altogether, which is unfortunate. I've never been to Disneyland Paris. I go to Disneyland here, of course, all the time. Well, not all the time. Enough that it still stays fun. I should put it that way. Jan was wondering if he should call in again. Yes, you should. We can talk Batman. So yeah, that's my life is DVD and Blu-ray now. Actually, it's mostly Blu-ray at this point. Josh's ultimate dream: watch Batman in Disneyland. Batman in Disneyland. I don't know about that. That would be weird. Eva is saying, I visited Disney World about 15 years ago. It's been longer than that for me. Last time I went to Disney World, I think I was in high school. So that's going on 20 years now. I mean, I like Disney World. It's just hard for me to travel all the way down there, especially when I have Disneyland an hour away. Rovandir is saying, reminds me about the old Disneyland commercials with that roller coaster thing on the VHS tapes. I had no idea what it was about back then. I'm not sure what that one is. I'm blanking on that one. Yeah, Temple makes a good point. They probably wouldn't have Batman in Disneyland since Disney now owns Marvel, the competitor. This is true, but there are lots of different fan days that happen in Disneyland. Like right now, since it's May the 4th, they're doing Star Wars stuff down in Disneyland, and the local browncoats, the fans of Firefly, are actually getting together to go down to Disneyland today. In fact, they're probably down there right now. Huh. So the commercial Rovandir is talking about is apparently for Space Mountain. Okay. I mean, I love Space Mountain. That's one of my favorite rides. Not too much that's very Tolkien-y about it, so it's not really part of my my Disneyland video. I spend a lot of time in Frontierland and Adventureland and Rivers of America. That's primarily where a lot of the Tolkien Middle Earthy stuff that I came up with for Disneyland. That's where most of it is. Not too much in Tomorrowland, obviously, and not too much in Mickey's Toontown. There's a little bit in Fantasyland, but not much. So I just need to put that thing together. I've got some really fun ideas, like how to do stuff in Disneyland that's very Tolkien-y or very a lot like if you were on a quest through Middle Earth. And also, I put together some interesting little Easter eggs in that you can find in the park, or and also like there are certain urban legends that go with the park, some of which I plan to debunk a little bit. Things like the notion that Tom Sawyer's Island, now called the Pirate's Lair, was signed over to be part of the state of Alabama. I think it was Alabama or Arkansas, one of those states. And that when you cross over to Tom Sawyer's Island, you're actually crossing state lines. That is not true. That does not happen. What is Temple saying? Well, don't do what I did when I was 11. Got a bag of butter popcorn jelly beans and vomited them up. That sounds awful, Temple. I'm sorry. That's probably my most memorable experience at Disneyland. Oh, that's a horrible Disneyland experience. Oh, we need to have another Ringer Day in Disneyland and bring you down so that you can have a fun Disneyland experience, and let that be your memory. Not buttered popcorn jelly beans. That sounds awful. I'm very sorry to hear that, Temple. Yeah. Now I'm just being awkward and not talking about anything. So I guess, well, I could cut this one a little bit short. We've talked about everything that I had to talk about. We talked the strain, which I'm. So Temple is saying, if I can save the money, I'll drive down next Ringer Day. Cool. So yeah, like the strain. Definitely looking forward to it. To the series. And yeah, so I guess I can start wrapping this up. Like the strain, looking forward to the rest of it. I'm definitely going to read the rest of it. And Eva is saying Ringer Day at Disneyland sounds like so much fun. It really was. I wasn't there for the last one, which was actually the first one we ever did, but that's where the whole idea for doing this video came from, because we were trying to put together a I was trying to put together a scavenger hunt for the ringers in Disneyland, and we had some good stuff, and there are some fun things like can you find the John Rhys Davies in Disneyland? Jan is saying I can call in before we end, but yeah, let's wait until next time, Jan, because this is coming to a close like really soon. I don't want you to call in just so we can talk for like 5 minutes, or less than that. But yeah, Ringer Day in Disneyland was a lot of fun. I'd love for us to sort of build up the crowd and really get big crowds there for our next Ringer Day. We had a good sized crowd for the last one, but I know that we can have bigger ones because there are lots of different fan days that go on in Disneyland, and they get lots of really big crowds. So we can build ours. I know we can build ours. Jan is saying Josh is giving me extra time to prepare Batman stuff. Yes, definitely. Rovandir is saying I'll just be stuck with Legoland. Well, why Legoland and not Disneyland? Not that Legoland isn't cool. And Jan is saying, I'm just a big fan of Nolan. Would love to talk about the other movies as well, such as The Prestige. Legoland is a fun day for ringers. Yeah, that could be fun. And Jan, actually, I've never seen The Prestige. I might have to watch it so we can discuss it. And yes, you have the original Legoland in Denmark. Yes, because that's where Legos were invented. So, yeah. What was that? Oh. Okay, now everybody's talking about The Prestige. Yes, okay, I'll see it. I'll see it. I'll see it. God. So, yeah, we'll bring this one to a close. So, just as a reminder, the book of the month for May is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Really fun read. I highly recommend checking it out. I'm gonna give it another run through this month. I liked it that much. And okay, all right, I'll go see The Prestige. Sheesh. So yeah, that'll bring us to the end of this week. Thank you all for coming and joining in. Jan, Temple, Eva, Rovandir, I Stole the One Ring. Everybody, thank you so much. Okay. Jan is saying The Prestige has I would imagine we could talk lots about the show. It has a mind-blowing ending like Inception. Okay, I'm down. I'll check it out. I might just go ahead and watch The Prestige after I finish up here. So, excuse me. So yeah, that'll bring us to the end here. Thank you, everybody. Next weekend there will not be a new episode. Because I will be spending time with family. So we'll be back again on the 18th. And hopefully we can get some people Skyping in and calling in. So thank you all again. And I will see you all on the 18th. And you know what? Never stop reading.